Good morning. I'm Tracy. This is my channel, Tracy from the Mermaid Cove, and I appreciate each and every one of you tuning in right now. Whether you last a minute or the whole way through, I appreciate you guys so much. And I'm, the struggle is real without the medicine that makes my brain function better, but I'm hanging on. I'm trying to do my best. I find that with the Ritalin at night is when I want to eat and shop. I was this close to ordering something last night. But what I've done is I've taken out all my credit cards. So if I want to order something, I have to go and get my card and do the whole routine. I find that is a good safety valve because I am lazy. So when I can't even explain that I would no more think about ordering this stuff during the day. It's this nighttime thing. It's like real thing. But that's what I'm trying to do, is put things in place that make it harder, right? Oh my goodness, having a little bit of coffee. I will say that as I'm weaning off sugar, and having said that, I had some M&Ms yesterday, which I haven't had in over a year and a half. The sweetness level is changing and it's not as tasty. So we're going to work with that. But yeah, I want to, now that I share things, I keep up with them. And what's really good for me, because there has been some major laundry mountains, because I have enough clothes, right, to go weeks. But I had one load left in the dryer, and I know she's going to want to do laundry today. So I am bringing that up and getting it put away, because that's the agreement I made with myself. One, I do 1 or 2 loads a week, so then I'm not far behind, right? It's easier to bring up and downstairs, easier to fold and put away, just all around easier. So I'm proud of myself when it comes to that. But yeah, I mean, really the struggle. Whew. But it's okay to struggle, right? I have no choice. But we have this new coffee maker at work. It's a Keurig, but it has the frosting of the milk or the cream or whatever. Oh my God, I love it. They're super expensive and I'm not getting one, but I can have it there. But I need a little something this morning, right? So I'm thinking if I move to a little bit of tea in the morning, so if I do 12 hours of fasting, 6:30, right? I would do 8 to 8 to start off with. So I could have my tea in the morning, have something warm, and then have my coffee when I get to work with that yummy stuff. So that's what I'm thinking about doing. These are 2 separate cups of coffee I didn't finish. I only really truly drink half a cup most days, right? I'm not saying there's days I don't, but most days I do like half a cup. So I just thought I started saving them, right? So here's a whole free cup of coffee, if you will. It stays on everything. But yeah, I had something I wanted to share with y'all. Now I can't think of it. So today's Sunday. I've been working on my desk at work, trying to clear it again. But I have a lot of books I want to look at or decide if from the book sale, do I want to buy them? Do I want to let them back in? Do I want to bring them home? Are they worthy, kind of thing? So I'm going to look at that. And you guys might Fitbit band. I got to get a new one. It's driving me nuts. So slowly, just doing like 20 minutes a day. It all adds up, right? So 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 minutes. That's a lot in a week. So, and I think I'm working on my Halloween display. I think I'm going to do Devour Books, Not Brains. That's what I'm thinking. And yeah, so unloaded the dishwasher. I had made some tuna fish, and I had made steak. So I have some steak left at work with a little bit of a spinach salad and onion. So I'm going to have that today. And then I'm going to go ahead and finish up my tuna fish tonight and make quiche. So I'm trying to keep the food thing. I don't have to be elaborate. Sometimes in my head, I'm like, this and this, and then I end up not doing anything because I overwhelm myself. But I want to do a couple collages. I'm just gonna lay down some paper. Like, let me see. Maybe it's my other book I have it in. I have like some paper here. I'm gonna do like a whitewash on it and then start doing some collaging. And like I do something with this spread. So, and like I said, I'm overwhelmed with choices. So, I'm trying to go back to some of the classes I'm taking, excuse me, and finish those, right? Still got all my the dots. Can't tell you how happy it makes me. So, and I gotta start getting really in the groove of decluttering, and I just haven't, but that's okay. What am I got on my foot, y'all? I'm kind of. And then I have this, oh gosh, my right arm, this arm is crazy. I have this box neatly full of all this cool stuff, and it all fell everywhere. So these are some scraps I want to use. It fell as I was leaving to work. So I'm like, you can grab some every day and put them back. Ah, my arm. Ooh, like this is a lovely scrap right there. So, yeah. I wore this cute new top nobody noticed yesterday. It's new in the sense I haven't worn it yet. Not new in the sense I just got it, but, yeah. And my brother was going to our 50th high school, no, his 50th high school reunion. And we went to the same high school. And him and his best friend were getting a room, and the first thing they were doing was having a tour of the high school. I just really never need to step foot in that place again. I remember the lobby. It had a nice lobby, I guess that's what you call it. It was open, lots of glass and stuff. I remember my junior high better. But yeah. And then I guess they were having all kinds of events. He loves that kind of stuff. Not, I think a part of that life was better for him than me. I had a very sick father. And, I was looking, I've gotten rid of a lot of my report cards and stuff like that. And I was looking at how many days I missed. And I think going back to it now, understanding ADHD and not knowing then, and like I could only tolerate so much school. It's the truth. It's the truth. Like I am so introverted on so many levels, and I just need quiet time. Like this coworker who got married, and she literally worked the Friday before till 2, was getting married the next day, and came back to work on Monday. And when she was there Friday, I said, and she wasn't having anything elaborate and a wedding thing and all that. No, she's very different. Her mother's Scandinavian. I would say she feels very Scandinavian to me. Her mother's Swedish. And her father, I think, is Argentinian, which is interesting. And she feels more Swedish to me. And one thing I said is, no matter what happens, you found somebody you want to share your life with that, in theory, you want to, build a future together. I said, that's pretty amazing. The rest doesn't matter. And she says to me, Tracy, you're very romantic. I said, I am, but I'm not married. So take that for as you will. But, and I said, you know what? I would literally, and this is the truth, I would have to be in a dark room for hours. So it's interesting to go back and look at things, right? With a different lens, a different perspective. Like, really looking back at, when I went to University of Arizona, I only took maybe 4 or 5 classes there because I worked 3 jobs and, went to school, and it was a lot. And, you know, I did have friends. I always had a couple really meaningful people in my life. I'm not somebody, I mean, I'm friendly and I'm so curious about people and I love, you know, somebody I worked with yesterday was like, you're really good at this. She was a substitute, so she's not normally there. But I truly do, and I'm not saying, aren't times when I have to force a smile. Usually if you force a smile, you feel like smiling. It's the wildest thing. Or sometimes, honestly, I have to go watch something funny that will help me, like, you know, I've learned about myself, right? And, but I really do love you guys. I wish everyone lived near me and I could get you your own library card and explain to you how amazing our system has a lot of problems, but I really love our website and I love all the information in the county I work in that has for people. It's amazing. I feel like it's my personal goal to tell everybody, right? Like when you come in, there's people who will just give you a library card and go, okay, what are you talking about? There's all kinds of cool stuff I need to show people. I want to get them interested so they will go back and look at for themselves, right? That's my goal. Like, that's all I can do is introduce it to them. But I really, truly enjoy it. And I enjoy people and even like cranky people or that angry people. I just find it fascinating. When I got to the point, again, The Four Agreements by Ruiz, everybody should read that book. First agreement, do not take anything personal. Because honestly, it is not personal, right? Some things are personal, but it's not personal. And if you move away from that and the world's not, you're not like, it's almost like egocentric to take everything personal because you are the center of your world. So I was talking to this lady and I don't know her very well, but I really like her a lot. And we've never worked together. But I said to her, you were at a dinner theater, you were at theater, right? Like, it's fascinating to me. It's fascinating to me what people check out or, you know, and then some people, I'm telling y'all, just put books on hold, go to the hold shelf, go check it out. And, you know, I try to make eye contact with people. I just smile, right? How many times you go in somewhere now and they smile at you or acknowledge that you're a human being that they see? It's unbelievable, really, to me. It's wild. And so it just gives me joy. Not that I'm not tired or overwhelmed or my brain's not working and, you know, I have all these other emotions and those are personal, right? But when I'm actually doing that part of my job and like thinking about book displays or you know, checking the system, like I'll and I have secret displays that nobody knows what they are except me to entertain myself. So it's not like an overt, like a Halloween display's over, but I might have things up. I used to, the old time library, we had a cool bookcase at the end of something that we could see. And I would have mystery themes so people could figure out what the theme was. And one time this woman, she stood and she goes, I know it's so obvious. And it's there, I can't. And I said, say 3 of the titles out loud. She goes, it's numbers. Yep. So every you know, or it's women's names, or it's every cover is ugly. One of my favorite things is I would get mystery books that were ugly because sometimes I get tired of filling them. And people love displays. I mean, I'm lucky in the sense that I look at library books, so I'm returning them and I can end up with a stack. And what I'm trying to do is on most library websites in your account, you can make a list, right? And you can go back to your list. So I try to do that, or take a picture of the cover, or I don't know, y'all. Right now I've got to let some books go because I'm just not as focused reading. But what I want to do one of the things I want to do in my studio, this really cool twin bed that's like I use as like a couch, right? I want to get some better lighting there and make a little reading nook. That's what I'd like to do. And I'm going to try to cultivate, you know, like today I want to do a little bit of spiritual reading, right? But I really do have to get up at 6:30 to get everything done. And this isn't even kind of me going to the gym. But I'm going to go tomorrow to get my arm checked out, and then I'm going to make PT appointments, and as I'm going to talk to them about walking, and then I'm going to get back to my walking game. But anyway, so I have themes, stuff like that, so it's fun. So I just enjoy it, like I really do. And I love sharing books with y'all. I have somewhere in my archive, I did picture books, and I want to do a series, so I need to get that loaded. Yeah, I think I have one more Mark and Sue, and I have other stuff. So I need to make a chart and really refer to it. Because I tell Beverly, will say, can you do that? I'm like, you have to text me when I'm at work, because I want to remember it. I don't like not remembering it, but I won't remember it. I'm trying to tell my brain, you're going to remember everything anyone tells you. You will remember to do it, right? You will remember right now you need to pay your cell phone bill. But I'm going to call tomorrow because I want to get a new phone. And I am going to try a couple of different providers and see how much they'll offer me for my trade-in. And I want the new phone, and I want as much, it's whatever it is that you can keep taking pictures. It's not ordeal. That's what I want, right? So, but I'm going to pay this money for it. And so I'm going to check with a couple of different people that if I come to them, what the offer is and how much my monthly fee will be. And I don't mind signing a contract for a year or two. I mean, I haven't had to sign a contract in a long time, but I started with Virgin because we got a deal through the union. And then that got bought by something. And then did Sprint buy it? And then now T-Mobile bought Sprint. And so I've basically been with the same company since I got my phone. And my mom had one of those jitterbug phones. So, yeah. Yeah, I've been missing my mother lately. Especially the nostalgia of my brother. So excited about high school. And that's where I was. I'm not going to say I had terrible experience in high school. I didn't at all. And I knew a lot of people. But my world was so internal. You know, it was really internal. And, you know, like I said, I missed a lot of school. You could do more of that back then. I just couldn't cope with it. And, you know, now knowing that it was probably hard for me, one, to sit in class and focus, right? I've learned now, I didn't expect to cry. You guys. See, sometimes talking helps me process emotions I didn't even know I had going on, right? But when I look back, it makes me so sad. You know, my life would have been so much different had we known, and we could have done something about it. But really, you guys, you know, when this teacher was telling me, a patron teacher friend, that they've had to send kids home since school started because they don't have their medicine. And I understand, right? Because they're disrupting the class. But it's so sad how they're going to feel about themselves. Because you feel, it's a shitty feeling, right? And it's not even, I guess if you had parents that could say, hey, this is just something we deal with, you know, and it's a circumstance right now. It's not about you or your quality as a person, but people don't do that, right? And you just, it's some kind of unsilent thing and you just feel bad about yourself. And you don't know how to express it. I mean, I didn't know then that I was feeling bad about myself. You know, I just felt shitty and tried to act like I didn't. I just don't know how. Right now, in 2024, people can't get their medicine. Little kids. You know, and I just know, God, if I had known then, if there was an awareness, and there was medicine, you know, and there was things you could do and understanding, how different my life would be. That's true of a lot of people. And sometimes I get really sad, you know, like I didn't finish school, and on some levels it was so easy for me, on some levels it was so hard. And I now know, I can remember this one professor, it was at a community college in Arizona, and it was some kind of math thing, I don't remember, I think it was math, like algebra, it was something, and I'm pretty sure, I can't remember the details, but I remember when he was handing the test back, you know, back in the day, and he wrote on there, talk to me after class. And now I dyslexic too, and I've always struggled with math. It's just, I just thought, well, you're not good at math. Well, no, my brain is switching numbers, and it makes it really hard to do math correctly when you're doing that. And who knew? I didn't know. was just bad at math. And I think I told this story before, but I went up to him and he's like, look, he says, you're really good in class, you know, and you're attentive, and I know you study, and I know what you turn in, and I know you have issues doing tests. It has nothing to do with your knowledge or your commitment. He said, so here's what we're going to do. He said, do you have time? And I said, yeah. He goes, okay, you can sit down. I'm going to give you another math test. You take all the time, and I'm here for a couple hours. Take all the time you want. What, you know? And because, and one, it was spontaneous like this, and I didn't have time to upset myself. And, you know, I passed. I mean, I think I got like a B plus or a minus where I failed. But that's one teacher out of my entire life. One teacher out of my entire life. You know? And towards that time, and then I took classes at the University of Arizona. I took, that's when I decided because I had worked, like, my mom had a consignment store, and I did all the books and worked there and helped her. And then I worked at a video store in our neighborhood, actual video store. And I worked at a Lane Bryant, a plus size store in the mall. So I worked in the mall twice at Lane Bryant's, and then trying to do school. It was a lot. And so I took acting, and I took beginning drawing. Things I wanted to do. And the acting the teacher was amazing. It was so fun. And I remember I did a monologue from Tom Toper's this play Nuts, about a woman who was forced sort of to become a prostitute, and her realization about her life. And you know, it's so interesting because on the surface you would think, wow, I just wanted to do something that seemed so opposite of who I am, and I was good at it. And she was awesome, and she really, and you know, I've always been someone who can take coaching, and you know, criticism is such a bad word, but there are people who do it meanly, like to point out what you're doing wrong. And there's people who coach you to help you, like, hey, try this, or did you think about this? And we all need that, right? And she was really good at it. And then we were paired up, and had this guy, and we did a scene from Private Lives, Noel Coward. And she said to me, do it with an English accent. And I said, what makes you think I can do it with an English accent? She goes, I know you can. And he could too. And I remember at one point, they're like switch roles, and I had not really truly memorized his roles because I was really trying hard to listen to what he was saying. And I said, I don't know him. She's like, why? I said, because I really, every time want to hear what he's saying to me and not know what's coming. And, you know, and she's like, I like that, you know. And she pushed me with her criticism or coaching, really. And then, you know, when class was over, she said to me, you know, she had to meet with everyone and separately. And she said, you're good. And you can make a living at this 100%. Of course, I was plus size. Was bigger than that. I don't remember, actually. But, and she said, but this was 1986, maybe? Something like that. 85, 86. And plus size, being fat was still just like a death sentence or something. So the way people treated you. And she said, you know, you would be cast in roles like that. And she goes, I'm not sure that you could handle it. She goes, that's the truth. She said, you need to think about it. And she said, and also you would be very poor for a long time. And maybe, you know, you don't know, right? She goes, I'm not going to tell you you're not going to, you know, hit gold. I'm not going to tell you that. It happens all the time. And it was really some of the best interesting conversation and coaching really I've ever gotten. And she said, you know, and she goes, life is difficult, and not everyone can do that. Not everyone can go to, you know, commercial calls and that kind of stuff, or, you know, there's all kinds of movies being done, or extras, and, you know, and that kind of thing. And, you know, she said, but you're talented. I want you to know that, right? And she goes, you could do this with no problem. You're really good. And she said, you know, keep studying. If you can't take classes, you know, or try to find like a local theater or something, and, but read, she goes, it's obvious you're an amazing reader. Keep reading, keep practicing, talk out loud, try things. And really, but was so interesting on the opposite side, this beginning drawing class, and I've talked about this, the teacher was awful. I don't know, she hated everyone or she just hated me. But really, I'm qualifying, I was the least practiced in the room because everyone had to take it to move up, right? So there's people who know business being in drawing 101, none. And let's say I was maybe 19 or 20 at the time, and a devastated 20-year-old, right? Like really devastated. Like we had moved to Arizona because I thought my stepmother was going to hurt my mother. It was a long story. I'll tell you some other time. So I was a mess. And my mom really started to hate Arizona, and she missed my brother. And I kind of liked it. I liked being away from everything I knew and everyone I knew, really. And I started to make a couple really good friends, and I love the weather. I'm granted July in Arizona, but you just kind of was like freezing winter in Maryland. You just change your life around it, right? You just do things differently. But God, the desert after a storm at night is an amazing thing. But I kind of liked I wasn't running into people I knew and all that kind of stuff. So this art class, and it just was painful. And, like I said, there's this one guy there, my angel, who always, we had to critique we would put it up and talk about it. And what's interesting is I can look back now and see what talent I had. I was not as, I was raw, really raw. And other people were just, were moving up. I could all have been in senior classes. Literally, I was the only beginner. And there might have been 15 of us, I think. And this Rodrigo, I'll never forget him. I always thought, if I have a boy, I'm going to name him Rodrigo. But he just was, and not only was it was just kind, but it was genuine, and he found things he liked, right? And, but the teacher was really, I don't know. I can look at it now and understand. I have no idea why she didn't like me. But I'll never forget that. The end when we could turn in, and this was hard stuff, like drawing a shoe upside down. Right. And I'm sure if I practiced, I could get better. Drawing houses in perspective, like with depth when I look at that stuff, it is so flat, right? Maybe it has something to do with my brain and my dyslexia. I don't know, but it definitely was a mess. And, but she did not do what my acting teacher did. She didn't coach me and help me and like, wow, this is really great. And think about, wasn't that at all. And, Rodrigo was always my savior, and he would always I don't know, he just probably the reason I didn't quit. And, you don't want to get paid to be mean, someone's mean to you. And there's a difference, right? Coaching and helping someone grow, and see, you can't force people to do something. You can't. And if anything, you rebel. Like I can dig my heels in, and I'm working on that because that's not helpful to me at the end of the day. But not everyone's really good at how they approach you, and I'm excellent at it. I really am good because it's not about me, right? And I'm just sharing what I see, and I know how hard it is to want to change and not be able to, right? So if you don't have grace everywhere and help people live in grace, it's just people shut down, But I'll never forget turning in our portfolios, and we could turn in what we did in class, or we could do new. And I think I did 5 new things. And this was charcoal, and this was drawings. So this wasn't like collage or anything like that. I'll have to bring them in and show you them. But one was Bono. A couple were Bono, because I was madly crazy about U2 right then. That's when I saw them first, and they just kind of really hit big. And I remember Live Aid, and I remember I was going to work at the video store, and it was like a Sunday or a Saturday or something, and I had it on, right? I want my MTV, and I'm getting ready, and all of a sudden I feel something, and before I heard his voice, I felt this energy, and I stopped, and I looked, and I sat down, and I was like, I didn't know where I was. Like, I was so, his performance, U2's performance was unbelievable. It was like desperate, and I don't know how to explain it. I could feel him. Now I'm looking at like his desperate need to become one with the crowd, to overcome who he was, to become this like vessel. And he did it. But I could feel that. It was fascinating. And I swear to you, back then it was harder to find stuff, right? Now it's almost boring. I don't ever look at a lot of Bono stuff right now. It's just like too easy. And I don't like other people obsessed with him like I am. I mean, nobody else was obsessed with him. But, and seeing them first time was electric. Amazing. So that was a really powerful point in my life. But, I remember like, tearing myself away, and I just didn't want to leave. And back then you really couldn't, I think I recorded it. Yeah, I recorded it. Because I remember one time somebody paid me at the store to copy I had taped all Miami Vice or something. My friend and I, Amy Jo, were obsessed with Miami Vice. I look at it now and I'm thinking it was different then, y'all. It just was. And I guess I was talking to someone and said, yeah, I have taped every single one. And she paid me. She said, my husband would love that. Can you, pay you whatever to do it? And I remember one of my coworkers was married to an FBI agent. And I was at her house and he's like, I didn't hear anything. He's if you start like selling hundreds of them, then we got a problem. But I think I made like $200 back then. And I really needed the money. It was hard. It was scary hard. But you know what? Things always happened. We always got really amazing homes to live in that were way above what we could afford. But like one place was like they're going to be gone for a year and they just wanted someone to live in it that they could trust through a friend. And, it was beautiful. It was in the foothills. And, so stuff always just happened, really. Been in the grace of God my whole life. And, but yeah, so this class, and I can remember going to pick up my portfolio, and this girl, I can't remember her as clearly as I remember Rodrigo. It was like a couple people talking, students that were in the class, and she said, yeah, they've been talking about you. And I'm like, wait, huh? I know I've told you all this before, some of you. Like, oh, lovely. What was she saying? She goes, she was saying she thinks you didn't do your portfolio because it's so much better than class. I said, really? They think I hired someone to do to draw Bono and Pee Wee Herman and what? I laughed. I said, really? Interesting. So it was my turn to go get my portfolio and discuss it. And she was like, I'm really surprised at this. I said, class was horrible. I said, class was terrible. It was terrifying for me. I was really not in a position to hear criticism, especially meaningless, unpleasant, mean-spirited criticism. I think that now doesn't bother me. But back then, when I was 19, 20, my whole life had been destroyed. Trust me, it was painful. And she was like, what, something like, what, why, I said, well, all I'm saying is I chose things I loved. I love art. I love the whole process. I love that you're outside of yourself and stuff. And I end up getting she ended up giving me a B. I think she wanted to give me a C. And I deserved an A. Not that it matters, but it was an interesting, and I now I could have a whole nother thing to say to her, but then I didn't. It was just like, part of me was elated, like, wow, because I know how mean she was to me and how, like, she just thought I had no talent or whatever. And, it's just a horrible thing to say. It's ridiculous when you think about it. But yeah, I had this other acting teacher and I wanted to be an actress so bad. I really did. I felt like I could make a living. But the criticism, I could do it now, 100%. But I had my mother to take care of. Like I said, I worked around the clock. So I think really, truly, those were the last classes I took at University of Arizona. We ended up moving back. But I think the next semester was just too much going on, and it was getting harder financially, and I had to do more, right? And we didn't have health insurance, and it was a lot. It was a lot. So, and my mom hated it, and she missed my brother. My brother came out like twice a year, and I don't know, it's just really, yeah. And the hardest, one of the hardest things, so, I'm friendly and like people, and a man used to come in all the time, and he said to me, I really like your voice. Okay, well, thank you. Okay. Nobody likes the sound of their voice when they're that age. You don't like anything about yourself, really. And he said, I'm on the radio, Bob, whatever. He goes, why don't you come down sometime and just hang out? And, I think you could make a living on the radio. All these things would happen, but I didn't have the confidence. I didn't have the time. I didn't have the confidence. And I almost was embarrassed. Like, why would you, like, what, me? Kind of, really. And then I remember the other time there was an opportunity, a salesman that sold the videotapes, and he would come, and, and at this point it was bought by an Vietnamese family, and my Vietnamese family, and I was the only one they kept, like the token American, and yeah, they were quite wonderful, and I learned a lot, and I taught them a lot, right? And how you treat customers, and like tact, like American tact. But this rep would come in, and the owner, Boo, would have me, meet with him, and Boo would be there, and he and I would be there, and the guy really was fun, and he's a salesman. He's like, I'm going to hire you. I want to hire you. And I'm like, I do not have, I couldn't imagine doing that. I couldn't give up the stability of my other jobs. And at this point, I was even working at a little gift store next door. And that's where I met my good friend, Renee. And I remember, though, working at Lane Bryant. And I guess I was less than I am now, right? But I felt like 100 times bigger. But I loved helping women pick out clothes that they felt good about. I loved it. Because so many people come in and be miserable, and I had a really good eye at that. And it was so nice, and to spend time and help people feel good about themselves. It was lovely. It really was fun. And then the gift store was fun, and I made a couple good friends. And it's amazing how you lose people. Like Renee, I could call her right now, and we would be like on fire, right? And she worked at Costco, well, Price Club at the time. She was really good at it. And she always wanted me to work there, and I just didn't have the confidence. That's how dumb that was anyway. All the things that came my way that I could not say yes to, but I had my mother take care of, and, and then she eventually just, it just wasn't working out. So we moved back and had one of the 2 worst years of my entire life moving back. I won't even talk about that right now, how bad it was. But anyway, but in hindsight, looking back at like, why is my brother so excited about going to this reunion? You couldn't pay me. Just, it wasn't, I had good friends, and I had knew lots of people, right? I was not popular with boys for sure, because, I wasn't even fat then. I was just big. Like, and I look at pictures now of me and one of my best friends growing up, and everyone was really petite, right? And I was like tall. I was like one of the tallest people in my class, and big, not fat, but big. And, that just wasn't the thing. There was an older guy that, I don't know, he'd been in the military and came back. I don't know. He was like 4 years older than us, and he really liked me, and older men liked me a lot, but and I think his girlfriend got pregnant. Yeah, well, it wasn't going to be me, was it? Not that dumb. So anyway, but yeah, I was thinking about high school, and, and there was this friend that lived in the neighborhood, and my brother still, they talk, and I'm like, he was a creep. Sorry. That's why I don't want to talk to him. He's a creep. And I know I've told this, or did I tell my brother? I don't remember now, but, I spent my whole summer after high school calling people, getting parents' addresses and numbers. There was no Facebook. There was none of that going on. And then I turned it into someone. And then, so when the 10-year reunion was coming up, they were hunting me down. I thought I wasn't going. I had no desire, none, to go back to school, and even people I was kind of close with, we had lost touch, and I just was not interested. And I can remember, like, when the one friend, Mark, it was Marla. And then this other guy called that I really grew up with, and, and he's giving me a bad time. I said, where do you live? I live an hour from me or farther. I said, you never once invited me over to meet your family, to meet your kids, to have dinner, to catch up, or meet me halfway. So why? So you really don't have interest in knowing me? So why is it so important that I come to this reunion? And he really couldn't say it. He's a lawyer, and he really didn't say anything, and I mean, he lives. I'm like, why do I want to do this? And I had gotten bigger, and I was still miserable, and why am I going to go, right? It didn't make sense to me. And my best friend growing up, and I realized that we just had in common, we lived a house away from each other, right? I hadn't talked to her in a long time. I didn't want to see her. I loved her mother. I think what it was is she had 3 brothers. There was 4 kids, and my friend was the oldest, and then 3 younger brothers who were maniacs. Her father, it's a whole nother episode. But I loved her mother. She was hardworking, and she's just Nanine. And I would go, and at the time my parents were divorced or separated, and my mom was out a lot. And when I was home alone, and I couldn't really tell my father I was home alone, it was just a bunch of crap. And I would go hang out with her when everyone was gone, or she was making dinner, or I just liked the commotion of it. But I knew I was, like, especially on Sunday nights, if my mom was out, and I would come home from even being there, and it was just really hard. But I really, I loved her mother and her grandmother. Anyway, things, a reason, right? A season, a reason, a time. So, yeah. But I had talked to my friend. We really didn't have anything in common. So I suppose if I ran her now, it's just, I did Google them one time, and her youngest brother had died in a car accident. And, I think his son was like 20. I came this close to texting, to, reaching out, email to the son. I thought, this isn't going to open something that you really don't want to open. But it's very sad. But anyway, so here I am. It's America. It's 7. Gosh, y'all, what time is it? It can't be 7:30. 7:30. Okay. Talking to y'all is always my favorite. So anyway, I just didn't know why I was getting so emotional, but it is. It's a lot. I know it's because of my brain. It's a lot to manage, and I'm doing my best. And when I catch myself, like, why didn't you do this, or how come you're not doing that, or you said this but you're doing that, and that is the work. Like, well, we're struggling. And last night I went to bed early, and I'm like, we're going to get up at 6:30. We're going to get that practice going again. And once you get up, you buy yourself a half hour. I haven't really been doing art or creating or having creative time. And I've been watching some stuff. But I'm like, let's just, we're a finisher now. We finish things. I'm like, let's just, a couple classes I've been looking at in my Wanderlust. I'm like, why don't we just finish up a couple of those, right? Let's shelve all the other ideas you have, all the other stuff you've watched, and let's focus down on a couple of these, so it's a 49-week class, I think. 49 weeks. Each week is a different teacher, though some rotate and repeat, which is great. And I'm like, okay, I picked a month that was printmaking, right? So I'm like, okay, let's, and this one, like with the printmaking, I've showed this before. So this is a transfer, right? So you print it out on photocopy paper, and then you gel it down and all this stuff. So I want to do a bunch of those, and I love it. And that's the kind of thing you just get better at as you do it. But what I think I'm going to do is just get a bunch of different found papers and do a bunch of them. Because what you have to do is you paint it with a clear gesso so it doesn't absorb in the page. So I want to do some without that gesso too. Depends on the paper. And then you put matte medium on both the paper and the thing. You burnish it and you leave it till it's dry and then you peel it off. So I'd like to do a bunch of those. And then, you know, there's this Jane Chip who I love, and I just don't know where the image is. I could probably print that out again today. But just, you know, do some following up on stuff. And so November 11th is Veterans Day. And, you know, there's a group of us that really clicked working together, the four of us. And we really, you know, we do like 4-way calls, and, you know, we keep up on what's going on. And, but we try to see each other because one of Sandy, who works with me, is on opposite weekend than us, right? It's a thing. And she and I are completely opposite. So it's hard to meet, though Sandy will take a day off, which is nice. But November 11th is a federal holiday, Veterans Day. And so I said, hey, why don't y'all come to my house? And it's been a while since I wanted to do that. And but also, I want my library to look, not just for them, but for me showing it to them, like to be more comfortable and a little bit more put together. There's just a lot of decisions here on things I've got to put in boxes and give away or recycle, honestly. But somebody was telling me about a cool store in Baltimore called Scraps, and that they're nonprofit and they take stuff like that. So I am going to get some smaller boxes, and some of the found papers that I have that I'm going to let go of. It made me feel better because they would probably love that, right? Where the vets, I would have to recycle it. So I don't know if that's too much, but maybe that will help me let go of more because I know other people will get it as opposed to recycling it. I don't know. We'll see. But it's an option. And then I can drag Beverly there, to, you know. And I guess they have everything you can imagine. They sell it, of course. It'd be fun just to look. Because I know I need to get Beverly out more and do stuff like that. You know, and I want to start hanging out with her at least once a month, go to her house and do some art on a Sunday. It's just right now, it's going to be wild between now and the holidays. So, but that's, you know, they love me no matter what and accept me no matter what. But I would love, so that gives me a good goal for this room. And I think, and I'm going to work a little bit, like 20 minutes in my studio, just putting stuff away or, you know, but I would love this spot in here to feel better. And then I'm even thinking about my treadmill. I've had this thing a long time, and see if I can get myself using it. But if not, I think I would like to get a really comfortable chair and, like an ottoman, and make it like a little reading area too, like a library. But, for now, I would like to start hopping on it. Once I talk to the physical therapy people and get a routine going. And then the YMCA, I need to go and figure it out because I'm feeling hesitant about being in a bathing suit in public, which, okay, that needs to be dealt with, right? But I'm so used to a private pool. So, but I know swimming, you guys, oh my God, would be so good for me. But winter, getting in a pool, I have to see if it's a heated pool, like, is it a freezing cold pool? You know, I really got to think about this and how it would fit in my, realistically, I just really am working hard at not telling myself falsehoods. I'll say something, really? Let's examine that. What'd you just say? You know, trying to, in a loving way, right? So it's really when you get out of judgment. I'm saying I don't judge myself. Of course I do. It's human. I do a lot less. I'm a lot kinder, and I catch it and re-examine and think, what's happening right now? What happened? So, yeah. So that's what's going on. It's a lot. But maybe the whole point of me not being able to get my medicine, which is just, I work so hard to find the right medicine at the right dose for me. And then when I started noticing it didn't always work the same way, and then, you know, that was hard enough. And then now you can't get it. I mean, Americans can't get their medicine. And no, I don't care who says what. This is necessary medicine for me. It's necessary medicine. God forbid I had a job where really, like if I was a lawyer or something, well, I probably have enough money to go find it. But really, it's not an option. So here I am doing that. Thank God that I had this old Ritalin. Honestly, I don't know, but that's not going to last forever. And I'm taking smaller doses. I meant to research that and see if I take one at noon, if that will push me up a little farther, because really I'm starting to lose it at night. Because my Adderall was extended release, and this, I'm pretty sure, I'm going to Google that today and figure that out and maybe stagger it. But I talked to my brain guy October this week, and I'm like, okay, do I start calling Giants and see if they have it? Like, Ritalin now is just as bad. Any of Vyvanse, Concerta, all these things. And I tried everything, and I'm telling you right now, really, real Adderall is 40 milligrams of real Adderall. Wow. But I've been taking 60 of the generic because you can't get 50. And I really probably just need 50, but they're capsules. So I should go have my sister-in-law show me how she does all that, right? Actually, really, I should, because then I could save stuff. Might do that. So you have to get capsules on a little scale, but that might be an idea. And stock it, you know? Because if this keeps going on and I use up all my Ritalin, I'm crap out of luck. And there's a new drug, and it's generic. It's not generic. I got calls. You know, I'm going to have to hold my feet to the fire tomorrow. I have phone calls to make. I need to do. And I have my orthopedic. So I always pick one thing. Like today, I have to pay my cell phone bill. That's it. Anything else I do is extra. But today, cell phone bill. Tomorrow is call my, what do you call it? My Caremark, you know, the drug people, and talk to them. You know, and then I want to call and make my insurance and find about a nutritionist and EMDR. So get those done and get those incorporated. And I see my retina guy this week too. And I have more floaters. I don't have any of the lights come in. But I definitely have more floaters. It's annoying. This eye feels different. Got to keep on top of that. And, but yeah, no. But I'm here. And, I was going to make quiche. I'm not sure I'm going to have time. But I have stuff at work. I'm trying to eat down my freezer at work, my Trader Joe's stuff. And this week I have 2 things to return to Trader Joe's. 3, actually. So I'm going to do that. Get a couple more of my things. And then I want to get, see if that fall harvest salsa and the soup. All right, guys, let me go. And as always, this is the best thing I've ever done for myself, is this channel and sharing. To know that one, you know, people pray for you, I think that's very important. And also that there's one person out there that can relate and think and doesn't, you know, is still kind of stuck in that, how awful I am thinking, and can see that there's people who've been there and have managed to change with that and techniques. And it's just not a miracle. Well, I do believe in miracles for sure, but, you know, that there's things you can do and that you're not alone. And, you know, but really, I think there's so much more there to process about my childhood and school and untreated ADHD. How really it affected my life. And I think I have to do some grieving. I can't think I just, yeah, you know that, and now it's, are you, okay, that was in. No, I think there's a lot of grief there. A lot of grief. Because I think it really beat up my self-esteem and my confidence. And so I would always have teachers say, you just don't live up to your potential. No one said, I wonder why that is. Let's figure this out. No, they just judge you. And, you know, like teacher who was so upset I couldn't color inside the lines. Can you imagine this crap now? I mean, I know it was the 70s, but still. Some kid can't, what does that matter in the scheme of life? Trying to break my spirit? Well, they did. They did. So, yeah, there's a lot. I think there's a lot of healing that needs to go on that I think I would like to say, oh, yeah, I'm done. I'm not done. There's a lot to unpack there. And it's interesting that my brother going back to our high school has unleashed all this in me. But as I was thinking, really, why don't I want to go? But really, I just think it was, well, high school's a lot to navigate. It's a lot to process later, right? And I've heard stories of people, oh my God, but it's a lot. And, and losing my father, this one high school the teacher, Mr. Callan, our English teacher, my brother and his friends had him, and my brother ran track, and then I was Mr. Callan's assistant, student assistant, and then, helped with track. I did like the statistics and stuff like that. So yeah. And he came to my dad's wake, and yeah, he was a good egg. He really was. And my brother's like, I said, what do you think he's coming? Because Tracy, everyone thinks they were special to him. I said they were, but I was very special to him. I know that. He was really good to me, and he made such a difference, right? Just his kindness. And the idea that he liked my company, and that he was glad I was like, it wasn't a TA, they didn't call it that, but I think I had taken some kind of note-taking class, something like that, and the teacher was like, in the first week, like, no, you don't need to be here. I was giving her ideas and stuff like that, and she's like, no. And I think that's when I went to help him. She's like, you really, no, I'm not gonna have you in here. It's super organized, right? Just didn't understand that the ADHD causes the chaos, but I can be super organized. But honestly, really, I'm a miracle getting done what I'm getting done, considering it is something. But anyway, I was thinking about that hurricane. Like, can you imagine whatever's and those of you who are there, my God, that Clearwater, I can't even watch it. It's so devastating. But just to think all this going on, plus you're dealing with natural disaster or war, or that's amazing. I don't know how people do it. Well, I guess you don't, right? One foot in front of the other. You don't have no choice. But okay, you guys, so I'll check in, and hopefully I get this posted today. And that's the goal with getting my cell phone paid. And yeah, it's I need to set it up on automatic, but I'm not going to do that until I figure out, who's going to give me the best deal on a new iPhone. So, and to even think I've written out instructions and steps. I mean, that is a big deal, trying to deal with that with how my brain is right now. But I really, once the medical stuff I get kind of settled this week, then I'm going to just have to do it. So, all right, guys, you take care. Enjoy your Sunday, wherever you're at, and go to the library if they're open. If you don't have anything to do, and just pop around, and I don't know. They're just wonderful places to be. Okay. Love you guys. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.